Today, Liss and I are going to explore the concept and our perspectives regarding illusion and what illusion has meant in our experience, how we understand our illusion.
Hi, and welcome to Light for Life. If you are returning to our channel, thank you. We value and appreciate you. Our aim is to shine a bright light on your inner splendor and assist to connect you to your magnificence via what we intend to be enlightened sharing, potentially educational, and hopefully entertaining information, as well as encouragement for new perspectives. If you are new here, you are most welcome. We do hope that you will find our content highly beneficial and enjoyable. I am Liz. I'm a Science of Mind practitioner and a teacher of various healing modalities applicable to all aspects of the self and this life.
And I am Lori. I am a holistic wellness researcher and educator. Welcome to Connections with Liss and Lori. We use the space to offer our perspective regarding multiple different topics that we certainly hope you find inspiring. And of course, we like to try to start with what is illusion? Illusion is perception, it's our thought patterns, and it can be the nature of reality. And how our perception and our thought patterns and the nature of our reality align with much of what we experience. Illusion can be a natural function to how we interpret reality. But is it real? What really is illusion? And I think the answer to these questions, with every other question, is becoming conscious of the concept, becoming conscious of what our perceptions are, what our thought patterns are, because that's really where we find the power to break through the illusions, to understand the illusions, and then ultimately to break through the illusions, and then aligning with the thoughts and the actions that do bring us our higher truths. So we talk about this so much, sometimes I feel like a broken record, but we can co-create what it is that we do want, and we can see the reflections in our life. We offer you these perspectives because we often talk about how understanding our perceptions and our thoughts are the first part to shifting our perspective, shifting our thought patterns that help us co-create the reality that we do want to see, and the reflections in our life and our relationships that we do want to see, and to really tap into that infinite potential of our alignment with our mind and our spirit. So before we get too far into this, I think it's great to really kind of give some examples of how our individual perception, combined with our thoughts and our beliefs and our emotions, and perhaps our religious and societal and cultural conditioning or upbringing, can contribute to the illusions in the first place. So I think a great example would be that probably most people can relate to is perception of feeling not enough, or a perception of lack, or a perception of struggle, that we don't have enough money, we don't have enough love, we don't have enough joy, we lack something or all of the above. And the truth is that it's not that we're not worthy, it's that our perception and our thoughts and our beliefs and our cultural contributions have led us to believe in the illusion that we are in lack. So it's really understanding, breaking down, dissecting those thoughts, those perceptions, those patterns, and remembering that we are just individuals in a collective of the divine. So there couldn't possibly be a lack of love, or a lack of joy, or a lack of peace, or a lack of anything, really. That's the great illusion, is that we're lacking something.
Oh, honey, there's so much to say on this topic,
Right?
and so many different channels that this conversation about it could go. I'm not even sure where I want to start, but in terms of what you were just expressing, the personal illusions that we can truly suffer from unnecessarily. How, if we start from the premise that our thoughts create our reality, that whether we're consciously aware of it or not, we are attracting into and projecting out things that we believe in, even if we're not conscious of that. And so we create what feels like a very real reality for ourselves here in 3D. The illusory part comes in with the fact that it literally doesn't have to be that way. Some of us come into the illusion of 3D reality, giving ourselves more difficult circumstances and challenges than others. So for some people, for example, material lack is a very real reality. Millions of people every day are impoverished to the point of death. It's one of the most heart-wrenching realities of our reality here. So the caveat always has to be put onto these ideas about the power of our mind, the power of our beliefs, and how we create our personal reality. That doesn't make this all bubblegum, doesn't make it all balloons filled with hot air, that the person with a starving 3-year-old in India can't possibly hear with going, oh, what rubbish. Because their reality is very much based in suffering, struggle, and lack. And the extent to which them changing their minds and changing their belief systems could eradicate that is going to be relative to where they actually find themselves physically positioned in this 3D reality. But apart from those established, can we call it real world situations, for those of us who truly do create our personal experiences, and that those are projected out of beliefs that we are coming from unnecessarily. Yes, we create a lot of struggle, a lot of pain, even a lot of trauma for ourselves. And it's not required. We also have a very strong positive illusion function that we also misuse. The function of imagination, the function of consciously choosing to buy into something that's fiction, that we know is fiction, like a movie or a book, and allowing it and the illusion of it to carry us away for a little while. Take us away from our perception of reality, our personal lives, and provide us with a positive escape mechanism. We can overuse that. It can become a crutch. It can become a coping mechanism where we're escaping all the time, escaping into imagination. It can even become very dark, where those escape mechanisms become things like coping mechanisms that are destructive, like addictions, for example. So the whole world of personal illusion is a massive topic in and of itself that has so many different directions and channels. But that is taking place inside of an entire illusory reality. And that's the part that is so fascinating to me. Various religions and cultures for thousands of years have told us that this life isn't real, one way or another. The ancient Aborigines called it the dream time.
Yes.
That what we're experiencing down here is a massive collective dream. It's not actually happening. It's not actually real.
Yeah.
The ancient Hindus referred to the Maya and
Yes.
that in this lifetime we exist within the Maya, the fog, the veil, the illusion of a physical reality. Not so long ago, movies like The Matrix introduced to us the ideas of how our minds are conditioned to believe in reality. And now science, in the last, I don't know, 100 years, has basically explained to us how this reality functions via our senses. So if we
Yes.
look at something like sight, not seeing you right now, I'm using my brain to think I'm seeing you. But what's actually happening is light is hitting my eyeballs, traveling to the back of them to my retina, where incredible little cells, photos, something or other, convert that light into an electrical signal, a frequency, a pulse. And that signal goes to my brain. My brain converts that signal into an image and then projects that image back out of my eyes for me to see. So we can't possibly know what we are looking at, because what we think we're seeing is literally a projection out from our brains.
Mhm.
So literally, how would we know that this is real?
Right.
The chair I'm sitting on feels very real, right? It's under
Right.
me and it's holding me up. And yet, exactly the same function of the light in my eyeballs is what's allowing me to feel the chair under me. My whole nervous system is translating the sensation of touch as a signal in my brain that is telling me there's a solid chair under me. But if I put that same chair under an electron microscope, I'm going to see that it's mostly not there.
Right.
It's mostly just empty space. It's not real. So what could be more fascinating, first of all, than understanding that? And then secondly, asking ourselves, so how do I apply that to my life then?
That's such a great explanation of quantum physics, and I don't know if anybody even understands that you just explained quantum physics. But,
As I understand it anyway.
right? As we understand it, exactly. When I was really young, my sister tried to explain something really similar to what you just shared, and I could not grasp it. But, I was really young, and, fast forward a few decades, when you understand everything is energy and, uh, well, E equals MC squared, so we thought, right? So the combination of energy and frequency and light and sound really does make up what we think is physical, but it's actually just particles, right? Particles that exist in a potential state until when? Until when we observe it, until when, like you said, when we can see it or touch it or smash our toe with it. It's, it's it can be a complex concept, but you explained it so beautifully how light and vibration really do make up our existence here in this human experience that many of us are not so sure is even real. It really could be an utterly a veil of illusion. But if we can, not overwhelm ourselves with all of these concepts and just understand and accept that there could be an illusion at play here, that we could be under a veil, so to speak, now we have something to work with, right? Now we have some substance for which we can use as a platform and really look at what we think is real and look at what we see before us and determine if that's what we want to participate in anymore. If we go back to, like you said, the spiritual traditions, the core of our suffering is an attachment to all of this material world, an attachment to all of this human experience that can be really challenging sometimes. Like you said, there are millions of people that don't have food, shelter, clothing, clean water. This experience can be brutal, utterly brutal. It's the attachment to that illusion that, in my opinion, makes it exponentially more brutal. And if we can stretch just a little bit beyond that illusion and beyond those beliefs that we've had for so many years, most of our life, right? That the real freedom comes in not so much the attachment to the human experience, but the attachment to our source. So, people might call it God or universe or source energy, or I don't really care what you label it, but the origin of our beingness. That's really where we start to separate our human experience and remember our truth and where we come from. Real freedom comes from recognizing our unity with source and separating just a bit from the illusion of the human experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. And, Lori, for me, it was a profound moment when I realized for the first time that there's no such thing as energy and matter. Everything is energy.
Mhm.
Matter is simply the densest form of energy.
Right.
It's energy in its most slowed down state. Energy at its heaviest, its lowest vibration. And what that means, why that's so exciting, is if it is 90% energy in its slowest state, we can speed it up. We can raise the frequency. And by doing so, the nature of the structure of the matter itself is changed. And then when we look at that same matter from a new perspective, with a new underlying belief that we're trusting in because we're more connected to the source of that energy, that means we can make that matter change into anything. And so this symptom doesn't have to become a disease in matter, in manifestation. This symptom can be a message of making a different choice that leads to health. This circumstance does not ever have to be something I am under. Why are we under circumstances? This circumstance can be what I have created and what I'm choosing to change it into now, rising above the circumstance that came from a second ago. It's the past already. And I could go on and on and on. The same principle applies. But that is where and how it's so empowering in our personal lives to try to understand as best we can that this really isn't real. Nothing's real. It's certainly, anything in matter has no eternity. It has no eternal life. Isn't that what it means when the Bible says to us, there are no tears in heaven? There's no sadness. Why not? Why not? If awful things have happened here, we're just going to get our memories wiped or something. No. It's because we're going to realize it never really happened. Just like when we wake up in the morning after a nightmare and we realize, oh, thank goodness, that was just a dream. To me, that's what heaven is. It's coming back to the state of true reality, the reality we've never left. We came down here for the experience of what is a struggle and how am I greater than it. And that's all it is. It's no different to tuning into your favorite movie, knowing that you're going to allow yourself to be carried away by a bit of fiction and loving every minute of it. Even when you choose to deliberately watch something scary, like a horror movie, it's going to take you awful places. You know that. Personally, not something I engage in. But I know it floats a lot of people's boats. It's how they process their fear.
Such a beautiful explanation. And as always, you have a way of explaining something that I just see it from a slightly different perspective. And I think, isn't that utterly fascinating? It's utterly fascinating to think that this really is all just a dream and we get to wake up. And we don't
Yeah.
have to wait until we leave our body to wake up. That's the great part. It's more challenging. It is more challenging to realize these things while we are still here in this human experience, and to realize ultimately it's just a dream and we get to wake up from it. It's only for a little while. And isn't that the kingdom of heaven? The kingdom is really just the fact that we wake up from what we thought was so intense and sometimes utterly brutal, or ultimate, sometimes on the flip side of that, people have such a beautiful life and they love it here so much they don't ever want to leave because their dream has been beautiful and miraculous and incredible and all of the best things have happened and they just don't want it to end, but it's still a dream and we still get to wake up to something really, well, none of us really ever know, but it's pretty profound. It's necessarily bad. It's not a negative thing at all. It's another tool that we can use to better understand ourselves, our experience, the human experience as a collective, as individuals, at all parts of life. It's just another tool that we can use to understand better or overstand if we don't want to stand under.
Understanding is actually good. It's just circumstances you don't want to be under. But understanding is really good. Understanding is even better. But, honey, it's only challenging initially.
Mhm.
When we change how we're identifying, and then it becomes empowering.
Right.
And that is its point and its purpose, as far as I'm concerned, is about coming back to realizing the power, not only that we are, the power that we have, but the power that we've always been. That we're literally able to create this whole illusion. And for most people, I don't think it's either or. I think everyone has their own version of a really hard time in life. Everyone experiences their own version of struggle, heartbreak, trauma, strife, illness, lack, issues. Everyone. And everyone has their miracles, their magic, and reasons why they love life. Everyone. Life at its core is always going to be bittersweet, I think. I think it's meant to be.
Thank you for connecting with Light for Life. If you appreciate reminders, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can receive those notifications. If you would like to work with one of us, you can find our contact information in the About section of this channel.
Yes, thank you for connecting with Light for Life. Please share your insights, your questions, and your comments with us in the comment section below. We value your feedback. And we really hope that we will see you for our next episode. We upload one every Thursday. Until then, bye-bye and be joyful.
Until we connect again, we send you love and light.